I'm gonna do all three, and then Mr. Swanson will show you registered as self, and you will be testifying neutrally. Is that correct? All right, great deal. We would like to start with Ms. Passan, please.
Good evening, Chairman, Committee. Thank you for the very thorough questions. I work at Every Texan for the freshmen. We're formerly the Center for Public Policy Priorities. We are an independent nonprofit research and policy advocacy organization. And I'm here this evening to talk to you about the sleeping dog of government inefficiency, something that's plagued the Texas government for some time, and that is extremely high state workforce turnover. As you all know so well, the state of Texas is one of the largest employers in the state. Every Texan, we took it upon ourselves to survey the state workforce last year after the state workforce experienced crisis level 30-year peak turnover in 2022. This body did an incredible job addressing some of that turnover. Wages had stagnated significantly. The last time the state workforce had seen an across-the-board pay raise was in 2013. The government was falling out from the bottom because salaries were not competitive, working conditions were poor. We did the first across-the-board pay raise in 10 years at 10%. Average turnover has gone down, so that kudos to you all for making that happen. If you go to the second page of my handout, you'll see turnover is expensive. I think we all agree here that time is money, and we ain't got neither. As my father would say, small businessman, a dairy farmer in upstate rural New York. So I, being a farmer's daughter, think about this. Okay, great. We've got all this turnover. People are leaving the government. How is this costing us? This is very expensive for people to be training, hiring. You have a lag in services, time. It's very inefficient. And so I think this body, you all are very thorough, meticulous, and you have a broad enough agenda to be looking at this more closely and what can be done to curb turnover in the future. I really appreciated Representative Curry talking about big ticket items in the long term, and Representative Tinderholt also talking about sometimes you have to spend money to save money. And raising wages, investing in the workforce is one way to keep turnover down and save the state money in the long run. So it's very important for the state to consider incremental cost of living adjustments for our state workforce, and not just once every 10 years. In the last biennium, we had to spend $1.8 billion to catch up, and we're still not caught up. The CPI index inflation for that time was 27% from 2013. We did 10%. So we still have 17% more to go in addition to what's forthcoming. Lastly, the third slide on the presentation just shows, there's a lot of talk about efficiency. The state workforce has not grown in proportion with population at all. We've seen 38% population growth since 2004, and our average headcount in our state workforce as an entirety has declined by 1%. There's a cost associated with that. We're seeing the bottom of our workforce fall out. The state auditor's office reports that more than 50% of the turnover that occurs at the state workforce is amongst employees who've worked for agencies less than 5 years. So that's very, very problematic, especially as our workforce is retiring. Long-term savings by investing in our workforce. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Ray
Mr. Hyman.
Email, representing
Yes.
the Texas